Want a free
War of the Spark.
preview card? You look like a show host.
What? A preview card for...
War of the Spark.
Sure, what's it gonna cost us?
Nothing. Like I said. Here, take the card.
Thanks, mister. Let me see this. Whoa, thanks. I can't wait to show the guys.
Commanderin. I'm Phil DeLuca.
Hi, I'm Shivam Hutt.
And I'm Olivia, guest host.
And we are Commanderin. Thanks for watching and listening, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. We put
I
a
like that a
spotlight.
lot.
It was really good. We put a spotlight on community issues, but never, ever talk about, I have to look as if I haven't memorized this, 3 banned topics: religion, politics, and Hearthstone.
It's only been 166 episodes, Phil.
Yeah. It's easy to forget after a while. It's a good thing that we can't see Olivia's shirt, let's just say.
How dare you?
What?
I don't know
Well,
what you're talking about.
I know, right? Well, we have a wonderful show lined up for our listeners today because, as they've already heard, we are sharing our War of the Spark preview. And it's going to be an excellent show, folks. Not to spoil anything too much, but Shivam hasn't actually seen these
Phil
cards
won't
yet.
let me see the damn card. You guys have no idea. So, listeners, let me interrupt my dear co-host for just 1 second. I don't know if you guys understand how previews work, but sometime before the set comes out, Wizards of the Coast kindly gives us for free a preview card. But they send it to one member of the podcast group, generally the point of contact, who in this case is very rightly Phil, because Phil is much more organized than I am. That's fair. But you know what that means? That means that until Phil decides I get to see the card, I don't get to see the card. And in this case, he has been taunting me for weeks, saying, you are going to lose your mind. And brothers, I am losing my mind.
Here's the worst part. I'm the guest host and I've seen it.
Yeah, she's
Come
seen
on.
It. Well, I mean, someone had to be prepared for the show, Shivam.
It's true.
Fine.
It's for the best this way, I promise.
Oh, God.
It's for the best. It's for the best. So if you want to support the show, please, by all means, share this podcast with your friends. There's a little share link up at the top where you get your podcast, where you listen to it. And send the link to your friends. It's going to be an awesome show, so make sure that they do this. And if you're viewing, of course, there's a share button down below, whether you're seeing this on Twitch or YouTube or wherever it ends up. Please share the show with your friends. Also, you can take the extra step of giving us a 5-star review wherever it is you get your podcast from, or just liking us, I guess, right?
I mean, you don't have to like us, but like us.
Yeah. Don't even if you're like, oh, I can't wait for the show to end, just click the like button anyway. We won't hold it against you. And so you want to visit us on YouTube. Just search Commanderin MTG Podcast on YouTube and you'll find us. And if you want to go the extra step, which is really, we are incredibly grateful for it, of supporting the show financially, you can go to patreon.com/CommanderinMTG or CommanderinMTG.com/donations, or to GoFundMe and search for Commanderin MTG Podcast and use the one with our C logo on it on GoFundMe. And for as little as $1 a month, you can join our community. You can get the show early, like the last show that was released, and not this one because it's a preview, but most of our shows go up a couple of days ahead of time, so only our patrons see it. For like,
and
you
can join our Discord, which is actually really cool and full of really cool people, and it's surprisingly active.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. We do have a general chat channel so that anybody who wants can join it, but we have secret patron channels. And if you want in on a lot of the patron secrets, including like when we ask for help with the show and planning it and so forth, become a patron, join us there, get to see our show early. So we have some sponsors, and each week we like to thank some of our patrons, because until this very episode, actually, we've only ever had patrons as our sponsors. And this week we're going to call out somebody, two new patrons, Old Man Urza, who,
Yay,
yes,
Ronnie.
Yes, it's Ronnie. Olivia, of course, knows him.
So do I, actually. Nice guy.
I was just going to say, Shivam just spent 16 hours in a car with him.
It was,
and that's not even including the Plane Chase Commander games.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. Thank you for joining us, Ronnie. It was a lot of fun. You have a lot of hair, and your Urza costume is fantastic.
He does. He does. He's a hirsute man, as it were. And
not a fursuit man.
Not a fursuit man, no. And then we have another patron to thank, and we know a lot less about this patron, Razenberry. So hi, Razenberry, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you for your support, both of you. And remember, anybody who is not a patron yet can get in on the funny name game we like to play about once a month or so, where we just read our patrons' names out, and whatever they are, we read them. And if they're not family friendly, we'll bleep them. Although we'll have to figure out how that works in a Twitch
Will we,
world.
though? Now we're doing this whole live stream thing?
Yeah, exactly.
We can self beep. It's not like we have. We have. Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. All right.
Good point.
I'll forget, but I mean, we can do it.
And then Olivia, I can say that as if I've had something to drink in the last few minutes. Hold on.
Rosewater count, is that one?
Yeah, rosewater count, exactly. So Olivia, Shivam, and I would like to also welcome Quiver Time as an actual sponsor.
This is actually legitimately cool. We are super grateful to Quiver for joining us on this show, because both Phil and I use Quivers and we love them. And I don't know,
it's the perfect thing to carry a commander deck in,
or 5 commander decks
or
in.
5. Yeah,
even better.
Yeah, like in mine, I've got 5 decks, my dice, tokens, and a playmat that I can roll up and shove on top.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. It's like just such a really handy waterproof device, as we learned in GPLA, where it was pouring buckets.
That's right.
Yeah.
But the thing is great. I definitely highly recommend it, and I'm super happy that they've decided to join us as a sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
It is so cool. And they've decided to join us as a sponsor so that we could give things away, in particular these. I mean, Shivam, when you showed the world your quiver, I looked at it, and immediately I was like, I know. And I looked at your quiver at GPLA, MFLA, and it's high quality. So we all ended up using them, basically. And yeah, I use mine to carry a bunch of. It carries a deck just to prove it can carry a deck, but it carries dice. I have tokens as well. I have extra card sleeves in it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Like, I was able to put modern deck covered. Are you okay there, Olivia?
I'm great. Just the way you guys were both talking about your quivers and everything.
Right?
Was really good.
Let me tell you about all the things I can put in my quiver.
I like to say we are a quiver with excitement.
This is a family podcast.
Hey, I held the gaze of our watchers, our viewers, just then by staring directly into the lens as I said that. Hey, so anyway.
Audio listeners, what you're missing out on right now.
That's right. You really should be over at YouTube at this point. And this intro, Shivam, you're totally right. This intro has taken longer than we thought it would. So we want to welcome Quiver Time as a sponsor. We're going to give away to our very first giveaway with Quiver some of their Artemis sleeves, which are matte black sleeves, and a quiver of the color of the winner's choice, and we're giving that away to our patrons. So we will randomly select one of our patrons at the beginning of May. So if you are not yet a patron, you have time to dive in and do it, and win this quiver. And we'll have pictures of it. I was looking around. I'm sorry, but mine fell out of reach before the show started. So
yeah,
but it's
my
a
son
gorgeous
was
purple.
messing with mine, so it's like very far behind me now.
Yeah,
as opposed to being right there.
You know, I have an unboxing video for my quiver I'm in the process of editing. I was learning some things, and I'll get that up in a couple of days, I'm sure.
And they're very responsive on Twitter. They're really, really cool people.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, like, I was going to talk about it anyways before we decided to get sponsored, just because I like the thing a lot. Like, I paid for it with my own money. It was pretty great. Would buy again.
Yeah. Yeah. And
hopefully I don't need to. The thing is very durable.
Yeah. And full disclosure, they did send me the purple quiver. And I use it at MFLA. I've brought it to every one of my games so far, and the thing is gorgeous, and it is water resistant. But I wouldn't drop it into a pool. A lot of us want to play cards in the pool. I wouldn't.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe
Some
let's
of us
not
were
test
joking
the
about
thing.
laminating like a popper deck. It's all commons anyway, right?
Yeah.
That would be hilarious, and I would hella do that.
Yeah.
Right? It would be so amazing. Poolside popper.
Actually,
Summer's hottest format.
that does
you.
remind me of one benefit of the quiver that I was not expecting that turned out to be amazing. So a lot of us fly to things like GPs and MFs, Pro Tours, whatever, wherever you're going. And one of the things that anybody who's ever flown with Magic cards knows, the TSA hates your Magic cards because they need
They sure do.
your deck boxes show up as like solid black squares in your
Yep.
backpack. And you know what a solid black square looks like to an airplane security guard? Not a deck of cards, that's what.
No.
But when you have your quiver, you just shove the thing through, you can unzip it, open it, they can see the cards, and there's no molestation or folding of your beautiful, beautiful cards. And it's just sick. It's like great for travel. And it's
Yeah.
super protective.
And easier to lug around than my Pelican case, which is like
Holy
60
crap.
pounds.
So yeah, like Phil walks around with this case that's meant to hold like cameras for film studios and stuff. It's incredible. And the thing is like secure as hell, but it hurts. If you run into something with that, you could hurt them. The
Yeah.
quiver is much more convenient.
So we'll have some more details, and we'll continue to talk about this through April, and then we'll announce our winner at the first show we record in May. And in the meantime, head over to quivertime.com. We will eventually have a link there that's all Commander and MTG, so it'll be very exciting.
Seriously, this is great, and we thank Quiver very much for joining
Yeah.
us. And this is
Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks, Quiver, from your secret base. They have a
Wink.
secret base. No,
There's-
they have a secret base.
Oh, well, that's sweet.
So
Fair.
we got a letter from one of our listeners actually today as we were getting ready to record. And Shivam, do you want to read this?
Certainly. So, from the listeners, a letter. Hello, I will get straight to the point if you don't mind. Since Dominaria came out last year and Brawl was announced, I've had a feeling that WotC is purposely making legendaries and planeswalkers for Brawl and mostly ignoring EDH. We only have to look at the currently standard legal legendary creatures to see that the vast majority of them are either unplayable or very weak in EDH. Since Brawl wasn't viable long term, we are now doomed to get weak legendary creatures for many sets to come before WotC can adjust. Best regards, Timo. Now, I do have a few points to make. First off,
Yeah.
Dominaria came out, and there's a whole ton of legends in there that are not
Yeah.
unplayable or very weak, is all I'm saying, just right off the top. And
Yargle
then,
Voltron.
let's say literally every set since has had great. I mean, you've got the 5 Elder Dragons that were in the core set. You've got, let's see, who came out in the Ravnica
So-
and Guild set?
If you go to the next page of the show plan, I disagreed with Timo as well, and it's not like no one was yelling at each other in email.
Yeah.
Timo wrote back and was grateful, and I was grateful as well, and he gave us permission to talk about this. So I did a quick look at all of the legendary creatures from each of the sets back to Amonkhet, and there are many playable legendary creatures from Dominaria, and Dominaria
Yeah.
was not designed with Brawl in mind.
It just ended up
M19,
being convenient for them, according to Gavin.
yeah.
It was like, hey,
And-
we've got 400 legends in this set. You know, it'd be good. A new set, a new format that lets you play with legends.
Yeah. And basically each set going back to Amonkhet has like something like 2, maybe only 1 legendary creature that kind of stands out as a commander. And we'll see which one it is from RNA. I know that maybe one of us is voting for Teza Karlov. But,
Maybe all of us are. Because
maybe all of us are. And Prime Speaker Vano.
We'd be foolish not to.
Yeah, there would be a wrathful response, wouldn't there?
And even as of this recording today, we saw a new card from War. The new Naheb came out, which is totally an amazing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Playable EDH legend.
Yeah, and so I don't necessarily agree, but I do think we will see more Brawl support. And in fact, the plethora of Planeswalkers that we're seeing from this set, because 36 Planeswalkers in one set.
37.
Yeah, because it's 36 in
the buy box
in the Tezzeret buy box.
Oh yes, that's right. So 37 Planeswalkers means that we have 37 new commanders, not counting the legendary creatures for Brawl. So that's kind of like a nod to the Brawl support, but they were doing this before Brawl came out, right? And even before Brawl was exposed to Wizards of the Coast. So,
yeah, one thing that just has come up in my Twitter feed a lot, and also in this letter, the idea that Brawl is like the idea that WotC has been bending their designs around Brawl, that Brawl is dead, that all these things, it just seems really striking that people don't understand the point of Brawl, which is that Brawl was made to be like, hey, you've got all these extra cards from your pre-release, your Legend, your Planeswalker, your anything. You want to play with your cool cards, grab all your random chaff, build it into a deck, and play it between rounds or something. It's not meant to be the new Commander. It's not meant to be
exactly what it was meant
to
for.
be this epic thing. It's just a new way to play with the cards that you have. And the success or failure of Brawl is not like anything tied to anything. It's just, here's a different way for you to stack. It's like playing Pygow Magic, right? Like, Pygow is not a format that matters. It's, you just have cards. This is how you want to play with them. Brawl is just another way to reconfigure this pile of cards you got. And it's just happens to be hella fun, in my personal opinion. And I know Phil agrees with me, and I know probably Olivia agrees with me. But, people are like, oh my God, WotC. No, it's like, WotC didn't bend their designs around Frontier. They didn't bend around Tiny Leaders. Go ahead.
WotC didn't come up with Brawl. It was a particular employee there who was in my playgroup in Seattle who had like brainstormed this. So this wasn't like some grand R&D design. This actually came from outside, from someone saying, hey, I'm doing all these pre-releases and I get all these cards that don't fit my meta for pre-release. They're not in my limited thing, but they're still good and I want to use them. And since there can be so much time in between rounds at a pre-release, what if we make something where you can just like throw those cards together and have another deck to play, and we are all on the same page with how it works? That's
right.
That's what Brawl was.
That's all it is. And you see, the problem is the community got confused about a month after Brawl was announced when Magic the Gathering Online decided that they were no longer going to support Brawl as a prize with a prize structure. And so everybody thought that Brawl was dead. And like we have lamented with several Wizards employees, Brawl is not actually dead, and that announcement did not help. It was so poorly phrased. It did the format a disservice. So, so in short, Timo, we disagree. We love Brawl, and we don't think that there is any paucity of, or scarcity rather, of playable EDH legendary creatures.
EDH is driving the ship right now, so I'm pretty sure that every set is going to basically have as much EDH stuff as you can imagine in there.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of insane.
So let's do some news, and we only have really one thing. Our friends over at Commander's Brew have released the Battle of the Brews on the 4th of April, and now it's in the past. For us, it's in the immediate future. But on the 4th of April, they debuted their first show, and you should be watching that. If you're not watching it already, please take the time to do it. We're probably going to put a link up on the bottom right now to make sure that you can see what the URL is. But just go to Commander's Brew. Go to YouTube, rather, and search for Commander's Brew or Battle of the Brews, and you'll see it there. Plus, I sponsored at a high enough level that they named a segment of the show after me. So, but I did ask it to be the Commanderin MTG play of the game. So we'll see if they.
We love Sean and Andy over at Commander's Brew. Wish them nothing but success with this. They're hilarious people. If you aren't checking out their show, you really should be. And if you aren't listening to their podcast, you really should be.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Hilarious every week. And the other news is, oh wait, that's not news. It's the main topic. So we are in the middle of Act 2 because Wizards took their preview season and divided into 3 acts where every card is being previewed by a different outlet. As a very special treat, Shivam hasn't seen this card, as we've talked about. And
friends, let me tell you something. We've got this show plan that Phil sets up before each episode. And in the show plan, generally it lays out what we're going to talk about. And in this show plan, there's something like 15 pages of do not look past here. And I'm like, come on. So
he's not kidding. Maybe we'll show a screenshot. So, Shivam, even though you haven't seen this card, you know you're obligated to read this. So, are we ready for it, everybody?
May we? Can I? Please? Scrolling. Saheeli's Silverwing. An artifact creature Drake for 4 colorless mana. A 2/3 flyer that says, when Saheeli's Silverwing enters the battlefield, look at the top of target opponent's library. Look at the top card of target opponent's library.
Yeah.
That is weird. I mean, it's fine, I guess. It's a 2/3/4/4. It's an artifact creature, fine, whatever. But if we got the Silverwing, they don't sell these as individuals. Saheeli Silverwing probably means that.
Hey, Phil, he's onto something.
Literally the
Can
exact
I be really
and only
excited
worst
that it
time
was
you could
you
do
that had a problem this time and not me?
Yeah. I don't know what it is either. It just stopped. You guys were frozen for a minute, and so I think my internet froze, and here we are. Wow.
It's
Shall I try that again?
I promise. Yes.
It's okay because I haven't scrolled past Silverwing yet.
Well, wait. You've read Silverwing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But then what he said, and I think what you missed, Phil, is that Shivam smartly noticed, hey, this says Saheeli's on it. And these things generally aren't, not in a pair.
Yes. Well, if you scroll to the next page.
Yeah, because why would a common 2/3 artifact creature be our preview card?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's cute. It's Saheeli Silverwing. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
actually, let me read the flavor text for our audio listeners.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Track the source of the Thopters, Saheeli told her creation, and feel free to snack on as many as you want.
Oh.
She's such a good mom.
But my Saheeli deck is all Thopters. What are you doing to me? But those are Dovin Thopters, and those are not good Thopters.
Well,
exactly. Those are mean Thopters.
So
what do we got, though?
As you were saying, a common card related to Saheeli really isn't suitable to blowing up Shivam's brain, although I would have loved, and I will see his reaction when he gets to it. But Blake Rasmussen said something when he sent the preview card, and he said, "Hi, Phil, though I'll admit this preview is aimed more at Shivam. But a pretty Drake isn't enough to meet that end, so let's get to the vegetarian meat substitute of this preview show, shall we? And now, 6 more pages,
2,
and go down
3,
to
4, 5, 6.
Can I read it so he can just be excited?
Sure.
Look at his eyes!
Oh!
Okay, I'm going to let Shivam be excited, and I'll let everybody know what's happening here.
Yeah.
So we have Saheeli, Sublime Artificer. She's 1, a red-blue, red-blue. She's a legendary planeswalker and enters the battlefield with 5 loyalty.
5.
Her static, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. Her -2 ability is target artifact you control becomes a copy of another target artifact or creature you control until end of turn, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's a pretty good ability.
So good.
Holy
Family podcast.
Yeah. It's
this
pretty
is
good.
So cool.
She is one of the uncommon walkers, which means she has the
yes.
static ability, and she only has the -2. But Proliferate is in this set, and it's intended that Proliferate will bring these uncommon walkers up so that they can be reused. So the idea is you draft or you put together a deck that has lots of Proliferate and lots of these uncommon walkers.
Yeah.
And by
I
lots,
mean, to be fair, you still get the ability twice just with the loyalty she enters with.
That's right.
Which is not
That's right.
terrible.
Yeah.
And the power itself is hella good.
Oh, absolutely.
Target artifact you control becomes a copy of another target artifact. So let's say
Or
you go
creature.
Worm Coil Engine, and you happen to have a treasure token from, say, 1,000,000 places.
Yep.
And you turn that treasure token into a worm coil.
But Shivam,
Yeah.
again, its target artifact you control becomes a copy of another target artifact or creature.
Right. And it's still an artifact, so she's basically making a simulacrum of the
Yes.
the
It
creature.
is so good.
She's
So if you
really
have some
powerful.
super beef creature and a treasure token, you can copy the super beef creature
This
onto the
seems-
treasure token.
And it doesn't... This
Y'all,
is hella
I hope
good,
you're on
dude.
YouTube watching Shivam right now because this is just, it's so metal.
This
Yeah.
is like everything I want, almost.
It is.
Our Brea decks are going to be so messy after
Oh my
this.
god, dude. I'm just imagining the combo out of Brea. Oh, this is
Or
so
even putting
dumb.
this in Brutaclad with the servos.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, I love this.
And
Dude, look. So you cast it on creature spell, you create a servo, so you got the servo, so you can negative her
Right.
to turn
And you
that
can use-
servo into
Whatever you
whatever
want.
you want.
turn that servo into the worm coil, turn it into when it's basically a clone until the end of the turn ability, so you can turn
Yeah.
it into, if you have no soul and you're using Blightsteel Colossus and somebody hasn't briberied it, you can have two.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
this
the
is
what's that
so
one?
usable.
What's the thing that was the golem? I think that was in this Saheeli deck from last year. That like
Precursor
the
splits into-
precursor
The which?
precursor golem.
No, it was the huge bro that when you kill him, he turns into a 6/12 afterwards.
Oh, right. That was it looked like the big artifact head.
Right, and you know what? I have the power of the internet. I can figure out what card it was. But I mean, like,
But yeah,
even
no,
to have
this is
him,
like,
if one of them dies to a block or something, okay.
this is a super, I mean, this is an eminently brewable deck right here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
She can do some absurd things in either the Saheeli deck, in Brea, in literally any artifact deck you want. But even there, even with just like in your standard red blue storm deck or like an Is It deck or something, you can kind of go crazy with this because
Yeah.
you're just piling up creatures.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Artifact Brawl with Saheeli as the commander. Now, even though she only has the -2, there's going to be enough proliferate that we're going to be able to, change that around a bit. And even if she only gets one proliferate and then you get 3 uses out of her, that's
Now
not too
think
bad.
about her in a Joyra deck.
Yes.
Ancient Stone Idol.
Oh,
That's who it was.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So Saheeli and Joyra together in a Brawl deck or an EDH deck could probably do some silly, silly things. Because artifacts are non-creature spells, it turns out. Historic spells,
Yeah, funny-
so
funny
sagas are
story, right?
non-creatures, artifacts are non-creatures. This is dumb. This is real dumb. I love this.
It's so
Thank you,
breakable.
Blake.
It's so
How
breakable.
did you know that I would love a Saheeli card?
Yeah, right?
Holy crap. Maybe
It's
Phil
almost
was
like
right
people
to
have been
not
paying
let me see
attention to you,
this.
Shivam.
Hmm?
It's almost as if people have been paying attention to you.
Yeah.
And you're let me go off on a tangent kind of interest. Artifacts and Saheeli being top amongst them.
Next up, you'll get the first all wood card, Shivam. You'll also get the first all cheese card, apparently.
Well, the cheese already stood alone, so I can't do anything about that.
Can I share the cheese card? I'd like to share the
Sure.
Oh man, and
Yep.
the art
You
looks
guys,
so
he's so
sick.
excited. Please watch YouTube to see this. Like, he's just reeling, and it's precious.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it, like if you're not on YouTube, just stop the episode now, please. Go watch it on YouTube. It's worth it. Yeah,
He's staring at his screen with childlike wonder and just constantly smiling and like looking up like, you guys, it's real. This happened.
he's grinning so hard his eyes are disappearing. It's great.
To be fair, I do that often too. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't fault it.
Yeah, so you keep her around with proliferate, you put her in a blue-red, whatever, artifacts matter deck. Remember, she has 2 colors, blue and red. That hybrid cost means she has both identities. And she fits really well in the other Saheeli Commander 2018 deck, or of course Brea, which they've already mentioned, because they both run Brea.
Because she's amazing.
Yeah, she is. I can't compete. I have a League Brea deck that I haven't touched, and I only bring it out when neither of you is around. So
Fair.
And
We
it
should
has
have a bray off.
a bray off. Sure, I'll be there as the token punching bag.
Give me that retrofitter foundry.
Oh my god.
And she has a clone until end of turn ability, so she also fits into Brutaclad decks like we were talking about.
She sure does.
And the Nightmare is multiple Blight Steels or multiple Worm Coil engines. And by Nightmare, I guess I mean it's really cool, unless it's a Blight Steel, in which case it's not. So, anything else you would like to say, Shivam, with this wonderful card that was aimed directly at you?
I mean, look, I love this card. This is great. War is shaping up to be really, really cool. I love that they've got these hybrid walkers now. Like Kiora, Saheeli here, the other ones we've seen, just seems really, really neat. And God, I love this card. This is so cool. And even though it's only got one ability, that one ability is so good. I mean,
it has two. It has the static ability.
Well, yeah, that static ability. I'm just imagining it. Is it Drake's build? You put this in, and you just get a ton of Thopters coming out as you're catching your Opts and your Shocks and whatnot.
Yeah,
not Thopters, Servos.
go ahead, sorry.
And then you -2 and turn one of your Servos into another Drake, and just go. Poof.
The other thing, actually, with the Retrofitter Foundry that I mentioned, you actually miss the first two steps of it, and that's actually really, really nice. So the first, a Retrofitter Foundry is a 1 artifact. For 3, you can untap it. For 2 and tap, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. 1 and tap, sacrifice a servo, which you would get with Saheeli anytime you cast an artifact or non-creature spell. Create a Thopter, and then just to tap it, you sack a Thopter, you get a 4/4 construct. So this,
I love that card.
I know, I do too. But this actually skips some of those really big, heavy, bulky steps on the Foundry and makes it way more agile and can get you crazy stuff much faster and much cheaper.
So now the trick is, how do you, in red and blue, get this pumped up with more tokens? Now, in EDH decks, you've always got your Contagion engines, you've got your proliferates. But there's got to be other things, other ways we can do this.
Well, isn't there that new Karn land?
Right. There's the awesome land that's got 4 and tap to proliferate, which is going to be absurd. That is going to be
that's one way,
absurd.
and that's colorless.
Yeah.
So that'll get you through the door.
And that's in standard, but like you were saying, the Contagion engine and Contagion class. Now the engine has a Fire Exim watermark, so no one should use that. But there is a version of the Contagion clasp that has no watermark, and it's a separate piece of art available only in foils.
Phyrexian thing I want. Tell me what to do.
And Inexorable Tide, that's another good one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was reprinted without a Fire Exim watermark. No taint whatsoever in that card.
So
I feel like there was another card from War that came out that would.
There are other cards recently that you can put a loyalty counter on target planeswalker, like a Johnny's thing or a Johnny himself. Right. Yeah. So look those up.
There's gonna be a lot. I think there's gonna be a lot to do with this. This is gonna be pretty nasty.
Yeah, it is. And by nasty you mean great.
By nasty I mean great. Experiment. Oh my god! Experimental frenzy.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's gonna be gross.
There's so many gross things.
I'm trying to figure out what the benefit of looking at the top card of target opponent's library is, though, with her Silverwing. That's
if you
a weird
have blink,
card.
you can at least see what's coming, or if you have any mill effects because you're blue, you can always know who you want to remove a top card from. I'm spitballing, but
it's a spy effect. You get additional information.
Fair.
Plus, again, if you blink something, like if you have Crystal Shard out, where I think it's blue and a tap, and you get to bounce something. No, that's bounce it to your hand. Still, there's plenty of blink and blue that you could actually see what everybody's gonna draw into and make a play from there. And good old fashioned Conjurer's Closet. So yeah. Or if this is in Grixis, then you can. If you have this in a Grixis deck, you can mill and then use any of those things for graveyard shenanigans. I mean, you are not suggesting that Saheeli go into a Nicol Bolas colored deck. Yeah, I am. Ooh. Because you know what else goes into a Nicol Bolas colored deck? Marionette Mastery.
It
with
does.
the artifacts
It does.
and pitching things, and I miss you, Kaladesh. Come
She's a
back
good
someday.
guy. She's a good guy, Shivam. Don't put her in the...
You can be good in Grixis. I'll hear nothing to the contrary. Thank you.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Nekasar is calling. Do you want to take this?
Hell no.
We're super bros. Let's do this.
I disagree with your assessment of good in Grixis.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I
bye.
just died from drawing.
All right. Well,
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
well, viewers and
We're
listeners,
so happy.
he is so happy. Look at him. It's amazing. Thank you for joining us this time around, viewers and listeners. You rock. We hope you enjoyed this show at least as much as Shivam did. But do not send us your happiness-related hospital bills, because only Shivam's heart can take that much joy. Don't do this at home.
Send me Grixis suggestions.
It makes me laugh a lot that Blake was like, Shivam needs to have this.
Yeah.
And that it's a meat substitute.
I don't believe that Blake mentioned meat, but it's entirely possible. Hopefully just for Shivam's smile alone.
I love Saheeli. I love
go-
Saheeli. She's my favorite character.
Yeah, she really
We're gonna
is.
get like 6 story threads about this tomorrow.
Yeah. The
Just like Saheeli related.
hopefully
Because he's gonna be all hyped.
hopefully only having a minus ability is not any sort of foreboding for the storyline. So
I don't think so.
I don't
They give
think so
minuses to like
either.
all the new ones too.
yeah.
Like Teo.
And but like yeah, and we know that Teo survives because the author was talking about him in a novel that takes place after the war is completed.
He's
So,
going to be like one of the
we
new
know that
faces,
that's
I
not.
think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But I mean, we just know that like being an uncommon or a minus only ability isn't necessarily
Kiora's got a minus
a death
ability,
sentence.
and she's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, one can hope. Certainly, Saheeli has a life that goes well beyond Ravnica. So,
Yes.
if you like the show you just heard, not necessarily just what we were talking about, please consider donating $1 a show, or even just $1 a month. That would be fine. So we can keep on improving the show. We're gonna hopefully get some stable internet connections and avoid some of the issues that plague us. And you can go up to patreon.com/commanderin.mtg or commanderin.mtg/donations, or GoFundMe and search for Commanderin MTG Podcast and use our C logo. And special thanks to all of the patrons who already show their support. We could not do the show without their continued support. So this time, because we're not doing boilerplate as much or any more, and maybe in the audio we will, how can people reach us? Well, on Twitter, you can reach the show at Commanderin MTG, and individually on Twitter, we are I'm at KETJAK, Ketjack.
I'm at Girapuri Gears, GHIRAPURIGEARS.
And I'm at guest host. Just kidding. I'm at Gobert Hicks. GOBERTHICKS.
Yes, indeed.
HICKS.
And we have special thanks go to Nate Burgess for our theme song, and Mike Condon for the guitar riff version of the theme song. He's also the editor of the Brothers War podcast. Tyler Webb, who provides us with an episode backup in case of server outage or secondary links. And he's also the co-host of the Unformatted Review Show, which is explicit, so don't listen with your kids, but it's funny. And he and his friend Chris review old and odd movies. It's really something you got to listen to understand. And they kind of slow roll it like they're just two friends talking after maybe a couple of beers and having watched a terrible movie or two. Then, of course, we want to thank our brand new sponsor, Quiver Time, for supporting us and giving away some very fine products to our first our patrons and then our listeners. So hurry on up and become a patron, and you can enter to win one of these prizes. And then this episode is probably edited by Vanessa, and if not, then we'll edit this portion out. But Vanessa Davis, who also is a part-time editor of the Brothers War podcast, we're basically fusing the editorial staff, I guess. Well, Olivia, you still have guest prepending your name, or at least your title, and so that means you get to take us out.
Cool, let's do it. Commanderin, all systems are inexplicably go.